In this tutorial, we're going to look at how you can work with forms within the UI Builder window. The skills you'll learn here are applicable not only for using UI Builder, but also using embedded subforms within your own forms. You can take these skills and apply them to add even more features to your own Access databases. To begin with, let's understand how UI Builder displays your forms. If we select the Design view from the toolbar, you'll notice that UI Builder is essentially a set of buttons, captions, and here in the middle is what's called the subform area. Now what I'm going to do is open up the property sheet, and you'll notice the first thing here is that this subform's name is subform 1. It's essentially not a form itself, but rather an area where forms are displayed. If you click on the Data tab, you'll see a source object, which is blank right now. That's actually where you specify what form will display. Now you don't need to do that, as UI Builder automatically does it. But the important thing to understand is, even if your form is named Form Customers or Orders, ultimately what we'll be referring to in most cases is this frame here called subform 1. The next thing to be aware of is up in the top caption you'll notice that the name of this main menu form here for UI Builder is form main _ expand LG. Now each of the main menu forms in UI Builder has its own extension at the end. So if we scroll down to the forms here, you'll notice a series of form main. This is the one we're looking at right now. There's a left large layout, right large, top, and top large. Those are the main layouts for UI Builder. And so in some cases you'll see through this tutorial we'll refer to the form name itself. So if I change the layout here to show buttons on the right, you'll notice that I have the option to choose a screen size of small or large. If I choose large, then I'll be opening up the main menu as form main _ right LG. So just be aware of that, as that will come into play a little bit later. Let's take a simple example. There'll be two methods that you'll use to refer to this form here within the UI Builder window. When I need to design this form here, I need to actually move away from that form and then open up the navigation pane. I'm just going to right click it, and let's say I wanted to add a button here that will open up a report that's going to use the opening ID to filter the report. Change my caption here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is specify that I want to open the report using that identifier for the opening, the job opening. So in this case I type in do command open report, and in the where condition, which you can see is highlighted with the IntelliSense, I'm going to say that I want to filter this report by the opening ID that's currently displayed on the form. Now you'll also note as I type the me keyword, which really represents this form that we're in right now, I want to use the opening ID, and you can see that it's available here in the IntelliSense dropdown. So I'll select that and then value. So what will happen here is we will launch, when I click the button, this report, and it will immediately filter to just show the job opening where the ID is equal to the one that's selected by the user right now. Now the nice thing about this method is it's very clean and elegant, and if I change the UI Builder menu layout, there's no change necessary here, because this will always return the value on that current form. So that's typically the way you'd want to do it in order to make it easier for your forms, whether they're embedded 3 forms deep as a subform or open all by themselves. The next thing we'll look at is how would I refer to something on this form here when it's open within UI Builder. Let's say you have a pop-up form where you're using to search, or you've got some other form that might want to control your openings form when it's displayed within UI Builder. How would you do that? You'll see here I've created a little pop-up form. All it has is a drop-down field for status, and it's basically pulling that information from the same source as where this drop-down comes from. And let's say what I want to do is whenever I select one of these values, I want this form here to filter to only show those records with that status. First thing I'll do is put it in design mode and set up what's called the after update event. So I'm going to click on that. It's brought me to my Visual Basic editor. What this means is when I've selected something from the drop down box, I want to filter something in the main form. Now what you can do is you can just simply say gobj main, which is basically the main form. And then what I want to say is subform 1, even though it doesn't show up in the list, be aware that it's there. And then I'm going to say form.filter equals, and then in here I know that that field is called FK status ID, and again just using that me.combo1.value. Basically I'm saying that I want to filter the main forms, whatever's in the subform 1 area, and this form is basically saying I want to filter the form itself to whatever the status ID field is. And then what I need to do is turn it on. And so to do that, I just simply say filter on equals true. So let's go ahead and test this out. Saved it. I'm going to open this back up in normal mode. And now let's go ahead and select one of these values. And you'll note that it's filtered that form to just display the filled or the closed or the openings. So that's how you can refer to it from Visual Basic. Now note that this method here, using this gObjectMain, is only available if you're using Visual Basic. If you're going to be using a macro or a query, we'll show you how to do that next. But this is a more elegant way in Visual Basic to handle this reference, because if I change the layout, I don't need to change this right here. This is a more dynamic way. Now, if you need to do it by a query, I'll show you how that works as well. I've created a simple form here and added it to the UI Builder menu under Example. All it is that same status field with the status codes and a button that will open this report opening summary. The most common thing people will do to filter a report when it launches is to change the record source here to include a criteria of what you want to see, and that might be based on something that the user selects in a form. So in this example, I'm going to select something from the drop-down box in that form displayed in UI Builder, its main menu, and I want to filter this report when it opens using that selected value. And so this criteria box here is the easiest way to do it. Now if you select the builder icon here, and then forms, you'll notice a loaded form. So we've got UI Builder open, we have the form main expand large, and then this is the form displayed in it right now, form opening example. And you'll note that you can see we've got our combo box value. I just double click it and it automatically creates the right kind of syntax for me. I don't need to worry about that. So it's added that in there. And now what I need to do is select a value. So I'll click filled, I launch it, and you'll note that my report is automatically filtered to just show filled positions. That's the way to do it from a query. But I do want to show that there's a little bit more elegant way. Here's the button code for that open report. All I really need to do is, just like we did with the other form, is say I want this to be opening status ID equals, and then me.combo.value. Now that's a bit more elegant. All I'm doing is no matter where it's displayed, it will know to filter by the selected value. I don't need to worry about changing the report here if I choose a different UI Builder layout. So that's a little bit more efficient way, but both of these methods are supported. So if I take this out now and close and save the report, you'll notice now we're going to do it just based on the Visual Basic there, and click open. And there I've got that same filtering. And if I change my UI Builder menu layout, I don't need to worry about changing the form reference in the report itself. So those are the two main methods that you'll use to refer to a form that's embedded within the UI Builder window. And that same methodology can be used for a form that you're displaying within your own form. So if you have nested subforms to make it easier for users to see information all in one place, you'll use that same technique of how you refer to forms. Thanks for watching.